a step toward me. Faith in action. Give it your best.
Hi, I'm Faith in Action. I'm here in Lafayette Square Mall where Hoosiers are going to come out to pay their final tribute to Mr. Amos Brown. We had one viewer that could not be here today but left this for me to read. It says Amos. A is for articulation. Amos Brown was articulated when he communicated with others from the highly ranked to everyday common person. M. Mighty Amos Brown was a mighty man that used his powerful voice and spoke for his community. O. He was a one-man show. No one could take Amos's place. S. For shared. Amos Brown shared his knowledge, wisdom, and compassion for his community, and that was submitted by Girls Into Godly Women's founder, Evangelist Victoria Moore. I will be joined here by other Hoosiers just so they can say their tributes and their condolences to the late Mr. Amos Brown. Hello, Indy, and I'm back with Miss Kendra Hayes, and she has actually been following Amos the whole 40 years of his time that he was on the radio. Kendra, what is your, out of all those years, that's a long time, what is your most memorable moment of Mr. Brown?
Last year, my daughter, Kyla Hayes, got on social media and she asked, anybody want to go to Ferguson? They're going to make a run to Ferguson. This is when Michael Brown got shot. So she had 10 to 12 people to go with her to Ferguson. And she was on Channel 6, 13, you know, the regular stations. This one station, I think it's Smiley in the Morning or something like that. And he called her. So she was on his station, but everybody that called in happened to be of another color, and they browbeated her basically.
Oh wow!
And it was like it was her fault, you know, that she even went. And they were telling, well, the police officers want to come home to their families. She said, well, Michael Brown wanted to go home to his family as well. So they kind of, you know, put her down. So I called Amos. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I told him what happened. He said, what's your daughter's name? And I gave it to him. He said, what's her phone number? And I gave it to him. And he said, okay. So he called her, and that same afternoon she was on his show.
Wow.
Yes. And my heart just goes out to his entire family, media family, his family, because I truly am going to miss him, because we were like on a first name basis. But I loved him. I really did.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear.
I'm back with Miss Annetta Willis and Taruka. But I know Miss Annetta real quick. She has her own dictionary. She has her own words, and I'm quite sure Mr. Amos Brown had a great time talking with her. Tell us about one of your experiences.
Well, you know, I had experience with Amos getting on the 1 o'clock show. And he was talking about how parents wasn't being parents. And so, you know, the old school mothers are not still old school. So I had to go, I was able to get on the radio, and I experienced, my conversation with him was that I'm old school. Because I believe that wherever your child act up, you act up with them.
Act up?
Yes, act up.
Act up.
And so, but we had a laugh with that. But one thing I do know about Amos, that he was a generation person. Because my auntie, who was born in 1920, she was listening to Amos Brown. Wow. May she rest in peace today, which got me to listen to Amos Brown. Now my daughter, who's 32, was listening to him. Wow. So he was very information. I'm going to say that word. He had a lot of great information. I'll put it like that.
Yes, he did.
But my last thing I can say is, the scriptures say, absent from the body is present with the Lord. And I know he's in the presence of the great King. That's all.
And nothing else to say. Thank you.
All right.
He's like information on demand. So anytime you want to know anything about anything, he was that person. And he loved his people, loved the community. And great man.
I like that. Amos Brown, information on demand. And the old shall teach the young. Lauren over here is 24 years old, and she had an experience with Amos Brown that she would like to tell you guys about. Lauren?
So pretty much as a promotional assistant for Radio 1, I spent a lot of time over the summer
with Amos, pretty much when he did the live broadcastings. For instance, the Chase incident where Chase was shut down banks in the majority black minority neighborhoods. I was there with him out there in the heat, on a sweating hot heat, while he was interviewing for the Closet Parade, the State Fair. You know, I spent a lot of time with him, laughing, joking, really getting to know him and his different live broadcastings. And I get to see how hard he worked. The fact that he knew his numbers, data, before he spoke on an incident, he knew who to talk to, what to talk about, the numbers, the research. He was very research oriented. And for my generation, we'll see something, an issue, and we'll just post about it. We don't know if it's true or not, but to see that he knows information, he's really dove in, he really went into it, you know, and educated himself about situations before he spoke about it. That's something that I took with me, you know. Don't just, it's good to be conscious. All right, so we know that Amos was not just a voice, he was very, very resourceful, and he knew his numbers. Among being the voice of the community, Amos was also a colleague, and I'm standing here with one of his peers, or a person that he worked with, named Mr. Shannon. Shannon, tell our viewers about your experience with working with Amos.
Amos was a tireless worker. The things that Amos done for the community, for the station, for the city, for the state, you really wouldn't know unless you actually worked with him and saw all the things he did in the background. Amos was a tireless soldier, like with the Mobile Service Foundation today. The things he did in the background to make sure we were successful with business.
Well, you know, there has been a lot of great things said about Amos today. We know that he is laid to rest. He was our anchor, our advocate, and now our angel. I'm Faith in Action, and that's what's good, Indy.